Building your business was hard, and you only sell it once. With a focus on marketing, communications, digital, and service businesses, the TobinLeff M&A advisory team is dedicated to helping owners maximize and monetize their life's work. Welcome to the TobinLeff M&A Podcast.
Welcome. Hi, I'm David Tobin from TobinLeff M&A Advisory Group. I am joined by my partner, Janet Tyler, to talk about a subject that is not always at the forefront when you hear about M&A. At M&A, you hear about EBITDAs and growth and multiples and PE groups. We're here to talk about how a strategic communications plan can help assure you get your deal done and your company stays strong. So, Janet, strategic communications, your background applies well. I want them to hear about your M&A journey, but let's go back first. You founded and built, at the time, one of the leading tech PR and strategic communications firm in the country. Yes. Recognized by Holmes Report as the top PR. She's being modest.
Yes, Tech Agency of the Year, I think it was, but yes.
So you were in the business. Tell them a little bit, please, about your background and then how you came to join TobinLeff as a partner.
Yeah. I mean, my background really originates from a love of technology that my dad fostered in me. I always had the latest and greatest computers. We didn't have a ton of money growing up, but my dad always invested in that for me, which I think started this early adopter thing for me. And then communications kind of found me. My master's degree is in organizational design and development under the communications umbrella. Couple that with my love of tech. I started a tech PR firm when I was 29, and it grew. And I worked with a partner, another woman in tech at the time, which was a little bit unique, and it was a great run. We started in Detroit, expanded into Northern California, where I lived for several years with my family, building and growing our office in Silicon Valley. Time in New York, and then eventually took the firm global through an affiliated partnership globally.
So you sold out. You were doing coaching for a while. You and I met each other years ago. We stayed in touch. And I came to you with the idea of being in the M&A world. Just briefly touch on that because we want to get to our subject.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I hadn't really considered it before. But to be honest, I think M&A might be one of those careers, at least at TobinLeff, where if it was 20 years ago when I would have met you, I wouldn't have been ready. I feel like all of my career experience has kind of led me to this moment. That might sound super cheesy, but I think it's true because you kind of couple the business ownership with the communications background, the coaching. It just kind of has all come together.
And to your credit, you really jumped into the craft. You became a certified M&A professional. It's not easy to get. You've been a student of the game, and you're supported by the financial experts in our firm. You're there helping develop relationships with clients, manage their engagements, and strategic communications is such an important part of that. So when we talk about a communications plan related to M&A, who are the different target groups that would be part of this plan?
Kind of starting with your core leadership team. You know, who are your ride or dies in the firm who see you through the good times and the bad times. So start with the top of the house and, in a way, cascade down your organizational chart. So you would have your middle managers after that, key leaders, practice area leads, highly specialized practice leads, and then probably the rest of the staff. So I kind of look at your employees as kind of three tiers. You have your local community. If you have a big impact in your local community, you have your partners, attorneys, CPAs, and let's not forget your M&A advisor. Your spouse is, believe it or not, probably a target audience for this. You really want to make sure you're as an owner. I think you're going to have some stress going through this process, and having your partner, not your business partner, your life partner, be part of this and feel connected and engaged to the process is important, because you're going to go home and you're going to want to talk to your partner about it. So bring them in early and engage all of those stakeholders where appropriate. Not all of them need to know beforehand, that you sold, but really thinking it through. And then finally, and not to be considered last are the clients and how we approach the clients and really understanding what their needs and kind of the what's in it for them as part of your sale.
Well, we're going to break each of those down. And I know you also want to talk about the communication plan with prospective buyers, the messaging, being proactive, and so forth. So let's start with members of your leadership team, key team. Many times with our clients, one of their first questions includes, who should I involve early on? When do I disclose? What's been your experience and what's your advice?
I think the core leadership team, whoever you consider that to be, in some firms you might call that your management team, your ELT, your whatever you call them, they're the people that will essentially know why you're not in the day-to-day as much as you once were, because you'll have these big blocks of time on your calendar where you'll be probably with your M&A advisor and meeting prospective buyers. So I would definitely start there. And I really believe when you engage that group, now they're co-creating this future vision with you instead of, hey, I've made a decision. So I really think as a seller, you really want to think through what that engagement with them is going to be and what you're asking of them. Hopefully you're asking about choices that you have. Who should we sell to? Should this be a strategic buyer? Is it another agency? And if you don't know those answers yourself, then it's really going to be probably working with your M&A advisor to kind of take you through what your goals are out of the sale, and then how you can engage that team to support you during the process.
Good. Part of the team includes other advisors, the M&A advisor, attorneys, CPAs. It's also very important for that owner to communicate his or her desires to the advisors early on, keep the team on the same page.
Yeah, because it's not, if this was simple and it was just about money, it's not. It's about legacy and letting go, and there's so much communication and emotion that's involved for the seller often. Having a plan, I find when you're feeling emotional, we can go back to the plan. Remember what we said on day one. And it kind of gets everybody grounded in why we're here. What's the purpose of this? It is for a successful exit for this owner, to monetize their life's work, but is it also about making a new workplace for the people that will be employed by this new buyer? And what is that going to be for them? And how exciting is that for them? And you can create energy from that, from your team, and get them excited versus we always hear, oh, but what if people freak out and leave? Or, it's better to engage them as soon as you are comfortable or able to.
So let's follow the spectrum. Somebody's thinking about selling, involve members of their key leadership team in most situations. Every company's unique. Communicate well with your advisors, selecting the right. So now you're in the process. Let's talk about communications with prospective buyers. Certainly that's the M&A group's job. But between the M&A group and the owner-sellers, what do you advise as it relates to communications during that time period?
Well, I always, I personally communicate to the sellers, this is your opportunity as much as it is the buyer's opportunity, meaning you need to come prepared with questions, which we will help you with, but you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. 100%. And if you come in as a seller and just kind of wait, okay, ask me another question, it's not a dialogue and you're not building a relationship. It just becomes kind of an interview. So I think that's super important. And we will coach and help and, develop really strong, tight agendas just to kind of provide a little bit of structure. But if we go off that structure, I'm actually quite happy with that, because that means that they're riffing and having some energetic discussion versus an interview.
Always you've got to get in front of any.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like super tactical, but I just recently worked on a plan with a client, and it was literally the stakeholder, kind of a communications matrix, if you will. The stakeholder on the left. So let's say it is we are going to notify clients, and then that middle bar is what you're communicating and really thinking it through for each of those stakeholders, and then the third column is how. Let's hope we're not just sending a memo. We want to be able to either be in person, if possible. I know we can't always do that in this world when you're communicating with stakeholders, but I always say in somehow eye to eye. If it's not in person, in Zoom at a minimum, you're and it's you, the seller. This is not something that can be delegated. You have to be in the room and hopefully leading those discussions if you're the primary shareholder.
Hopefully transport. There's a
It is because, well, I mean, a lot of times the seller feels, just until the deal is signed and the money is, it has crossed the wires. It's difficult to say, yes, I'm going to communicate with a client before the sale has closed. But oftentimes, especially with private equity, and I would even argue probably strategics as well, they want to know that those clients are satisfied. Well, number one, real clients, and that the contracts are solid. And, essentially they want that opportunity to hopefully share with the client, this is what we see that's in this for you. And then after the close, but before the press announcement, very key, do not let your clients read that you have sold your business in a news release or a news blast of some kind. That would not be the way. Just like employees, you would never want an employee to come to you and say, hey, my contact in some other city told me that we're selling this company. What's going on?
Or worse yet, we've sold.
Well, yeah, you're just really flat-footed at that point. It's better to be ahead of it. And sometimes these communications plans can be built 2 years, 18 months in advance of a sale, because if you want to reposition the agency's story, maybe you're developing new website or marketing materials, you're shoring up your team. I mean, this is happening, hopefully in advance. And I will say, as a seller, when you have a communications plan and you're in these buyer meetings, it just shows you're a confident, qualified seller. Like, I've got this. Here's my plan. And buyers like that. They like to know that you have some, foresight in how this is going to go. It just shows good business acumen.
No, love it. At the end, it's about communicating to the general public. The irony, many of our clients, so TobinLeff, we help service firms, technology. We do a lot with marketing communications agencies. Let's not let our clients be the shoemaker's children. They're in the strategic communications business. It's so important. Any last thoughts for readers, listeners, or viewers, listeners?
Communicate well, communicate often, and communicate again. If there was, transparency, consistency is so key. And it really is not something that can be delegated. I just feel like you really have to own that and feel great about the message that you're delivering to whatever constituent, whoever you are in front of at that time. This buyer is the absolute best buyer for this company, and here's why I believe that, and here's what's in it for you.
Love it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for viewing, for listening. TobinLeff, Janet and I are 2 of the 8 partners. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to talk about your business, opportunities in the M&A marketplace. They can find you on our website, TobinLeff.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the TobinLeff M&A Podcast, produced by Main Impact with music by Holt Vaughn. For additional resources, case studies, or to contact a partner today, visit TobinLeff.com and be sure to subscribe or sign up for our emails to never miss an episode.